Good morning.
Good morning.
How you all doing?
Good. Well.
All right. I want to thank you all for being here this morning. Again, for taking your time and being a part of this group of people. I want to say this very courageous group of people. Thank you for being here and being brave with us. And I say courageous because we're here. I'm going to guess that we're all here to some extent because we are looking into a crystal ball of the future. And the direction we're going in isn't looking so good. And we're here because we have the courage to stand up and say, we're here to turn this around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here to turn this around. So I'm going to do this without slides. So, all
Right.
right. So I want to talk a little bit about the context of that crystal ball, of where the direction our society is going in now, the whole context, which is bigger than just energy policy. Let's look at it all together and then come back to the energy policy, look what that means for energy policy. So first of all, we have the context of climate change. Like how Al mentioned that we actually can't afford any more greenhouse gases, which is a shocking thing to say, right? Because that would mean we'd like turn off the lights, we'd turn off the PowerPoint, we would, the buses would stop running, the cars would stop running, the planes would shut down. Today, I mean, like if we were really going to get serious about climate change, that's what would happen. Because some of the best science out there is estimating that we need to limit greenhouse gas emissions at 350 parts per million. This should now be a familiar number. And we're already at 380, so we've already overshot. Which is one reason why I'm moderating a panel after this on climate adaptation, because it is happening. There is no stopping it at this point. But we do have a choice between bad and really, really, really bad. And that is an important choice for our children. Let's keep it bad. And we're going to have to work really hard to keep it bad. But that's so much better than really, really, really bad. So yes, there's a lot of turning around here to do. At the same time, we are running out of oil, which is a good thing for not burning it, but a bad thing in terms of our, well, it's a mixed bag, I would say. It means that we're going to have a really serious economic transition as well. Basically, I think peak oil can be summed up in one word, in a superficial sort of way: inflation, and which hurts those who are struggling economically the most. It drives more unemployment, less tax revenue for our public services, more cuts in public services. It's a perfect storm for increasing poverty. And so these impacts altogether will hit those who are already most vulnerable. And friends, let's be honest, let's say that vulnerability is tightly linked in this society to race and class. And let's put that out on the table because it's a part of this energy discussion. And so I think it is actually one of the key tasks of people who are working on climate change adaptation and people who are working on resilient energy systems to also be addressing inequities in race and class in the society. It's not a side project. It's the main project. And so let's talk a little bit about what resilient energy systems can look like in this crystal ball in the future. And at Be Localize, I spent a couple of years developing a document that helps people think through future resilient systems. You can download it for free online. It's called the Community Resilience Toolkit. And you can download it from baylocalize.org. And we start thinking about, okay, what really could work in the future? And we realized we need to be working off, starting kind of sort of a new place of criteria of what our systems for providing basic needs in our society should look like, what they should be based on. And we decided that really ability to pay, how much money you have, is not carte blanche to be ruining our climate. Your ability to pay to emit greenhouse gases should not give you free leave to actually go do it. So what we really need in the future is I would say a framework of human rights. And we have a legal framework in the society for it. It's not very legally strong, but it's there. Eleanor Roosevelt did a lot of work on this in the UN Declaration of Human Rights. There's an amazing, lawyers in the room might be familiar with this document, and but there's some amazing language in there about how food, water, education, housing, healthcare, special protections for women and children are all human rights and should be guaranteed. I don't actually think there's language in there about energy being a human right. We have a society that is equitable, in which we are using a whole lot less energy because it's the only way. How do we divvy that up? And so there's a fine line in terms of thinking about how much energy is our human right to use and what's excess. I think there is some energy related to delivering some of those other human rights. For example, you need energy to get water, unless you're collecting it from your roof, which is another way to get it. You need energy to run schools and hospitals and so on, and some of these other things that deliver human rights. So it's a fine line thinking about how much do we actually need, and then where is that excess? And then how do we get to that point where we are distributing our very limited energy budget more equitably? I would say we need to get more serious in this movement, and kudos to the people who are working on this. We need to get more serious about a deep carbon tax, distributed potentially as a dividend or as in adaptation funds. We need to get as close as possible to a zero net carbon energy system. And I want to, at this point, direct your attention to a page in your packet, in your agenda packet. It's after the page with all the speaker photos. It's called the Local Clean Energy Alliance 2011 Campaign Priorities. And I'm going to mention what those are real quick, and we have a quick write-up on those. And also, meanwhile, while you're looking for that, I'm going to give a real quick shout out to members of the Local Clean Energy Alliance. We now have, is it 70, 80, how many, Dave?
I think 76.
76 organizational members of the Local Clean Energy Alliance. That's environmental organizations, social justice organizations, green businesses, energy businesses, a couple of government agencies who are willing to stand up for an independent energy policy. And so we really encourage, if your organization or if you as an individual are not a member yet, we encourage you to stand up and join us and get involved in building this movement for independent and sane energy policy, especially here in the Bay Area. And along the lines of seriously reducing the amount of energy that we use, we're launching a Claim Our Cash campaign this year. And we've been alluding to it all along. This is a campaign in which we're encouraging municipalities to claim their energy efficiency funds. It's the money that we pay at the end of our pay as a part of our PG&E bill. It's like surcharges at the end of the bill. For example, here in Oakland, it may be up to maybe up to $3 million a year that's going to PG&E for energy efficiency programs that are not meeting targets even set by the state, which aren't even as strong as the targets need to be. So, for example, here in Oakland, which has a stronger climate action plan than the state does, Oakland really needs to be taking control of those energy efficiency funds to be doing a better job at reducing our energy costs. To reducing our energy. The Solutions in Our Backyard campaign is about ramping up renewable energy, decentralized renewable energy, as Al was speaking about, in our cities. Getting city councils to pass resolutions saying, we want these installations here in our cities. We want the jobs here in our cities. We want that reliability here in our cities, and sending the CPUC that message. And of course, we're also continuing our flagship campaigns of supporting community choice energy efforts around the Bay Area. Yeah, so I want to do a plug also for our panel on adaptation. We have some wonderful speakers who especially will be continuing to address the issue of social justice, race, and class in this question as well. So thank you very much.